UFC Perth is happening this Saturday. We've got all of my picks locked and loaded. 100% right. We're getting every single pick right, and it's not going to even be close. And as you can see from the top, I did pick Dominic Reyes to win. Even though Carlos Ulberg is a minus 250 favorite, I am still picking the Devastator to reclaim his destiny. To get a title shot and win the belt after it was robbed from him, because that is his birthright. It was stolen from him from he who shall not be named on this channel back in February 2020. I am picking the Devastator. Deadly counterpuncher. He has turned a new leaf. He is not the same guy that got knocked out 3 times in a row. He's not the same guy anymore. He looks fast and snappy. He looked like vintage Reyes in that Krylov fight. In that Dustin Jacoby fight. Remember, between the Ryan Spann knockout and Dustin Jacoby, it was like a year and a half, a layoff. He came back renewed. Carlos Ulberg, on the other hand, his last 3 wins, they were solid wins. Alonzo Menafield, he knocks him out in like the first 10-15 seconds because Alonzo Menafield decided to charge in like a bull, like a dumbass. Low IQ dumbass, typical from Alonzo Menafield. I'm not going to hold that win as saying much for Carlos Ulberg. Okay, I'm not. Volkan Oezdemir, was that the fight after, or was it Jan Blachowicz? It was Volkan Oezdemir, I'm pretty sure. And the Jan Blachowicz fights. Those 2 fights, 3 rounds, leg kick bonanza, nothing happened. There were no knockdowns. It was just boring fights, and I watched them, and I can't remember a single thing. It was that boring. This is going to be a 5-round fight against a guy who has been there with, let's just be honest, the greatest of all time. Okay, I don't like to say that about the Demon, but it's true. And he beat the Demon. He beat the Heretic. I'm talking about Dominic Reyes. Dominic Reyes beat that motherfucker that night in 2020 before the pandemic happened. Who is Carlos Ulberg to him? Who the fuck is Carlos Ulberg to Dominic Reyes? He's just another stepping stone, another obstacle to get his title shot. That is all that Carlos Ulberg is. Reyes is going to piece him up. I don't think he's going to knock him out because Carlos Ulberg is a very cautious fighter. He doesn't really fight in the pocket all that much. If he were to fight in the pocket, then I would pick Reyes to knock him out because Dustin Jacoby fought in the pocket, and we saw what happened there. Krylov was fighting in the pocket. We saw what happened there. There's no reason for me to bring up the Anthony Smith fight because Anthony Smith is such a worthless punching bag, so I'm not going to even mention him in this video anymore. But, it was another win for Reyes. So, for those reasons and those reasons alone, I am picking Reyes. Solid fighter. And how could you not pick him, man? So it's like maybe Ulberg is the favorite because it's happening in Australia, and I know he's a Kiwi, but still, a lot of the bookies are like piling on, because this is what bookies do, is they see it's like, okay, Reyes, Reyes is also the underdog in the Krylov fight. We all saw how that happened. So I'm not taking that minus 250 favorite as an end-all be-all. That's easy money in my opinion. Next fight, Jimmy Crute versus Ivan Erslan. Okay, let's be honest. All of these fights, there's some fights that, I'll watch and I care about. This fight, I don't give a fuck about. And it was supposed to be Junior Tafa versus Ibo Aslan. That fight got canceled. Even that was a horrible co-main event. Jimmy Crute as a co-main event. It's no wonder why this fight card is not selling. Apparently, in Perth, nobody's buying it. The venue is half full. They're having to cut the prices. It's that embarrassing over there. It's pathetic, because this is the co-main event. That being said, I am picking Crute. I can't pick Ivan Erslan. Both of these guys are horrible fighters. Let's not kid ourselves. Jimmy Crute, he's on a small comeback tour. I remember Jimmy Crute getting knocked out by Jamal Hill, and ever since then I'm like, man, this guy's never gonna amount to anything. He's got the horrible mullet. I don't know why these Aussies have those fucking mullets. They're so gross. I don't like the mullet as a hairstyle. I don't. But Ivan Erslan, I'm pretty sure he also fought Navajo Sterling, and nothing happened in that fight. Not picking Erslan, sticking with Jimmy Crute. Jack Jenkins versus Ramon Taveras. Look, you know the UFC matchmakers are putting these matchups because they want some of these Aussies to starch out the Americans. They want Jack Jenkins to starch Taveras, and I think that's what's going to happen. I think there's going to be a knockout for Jack Jenkins. That's why I'm picking him. Like, who has Ramon Taveras actually beaten? I can't think of anybody noticeable. Just another bum fighter in the UFC who nobody gives a fuck about. See, like Jake Matthews versus Neil Magny. These two names are bigger than these guys. Why isn't this fight above this one? That's what doesn't make sense to me. Jake Matthews, he was an underdog versus Chidi Njokuani. I did pick Jake Matthews to beat Chidi Njokuani, which was a very risky pick at the time. And that pick has aged very well for me. He's on a 3-fight win streak. Neil Magny, he's on the downward spiral of his career. People are thinking like, I'm not going to think like, oh, well, it's going to be another Mike Malott situation where Neil Magny, he's just going to come out and beat up the younger guy who looks like a white male model. I'm picking Jake Matthews by submission. We're going to go Jake Matthews by submission or by ground and pound finish. How can you not pick Jake at this point? Like, Neil Magny, he got the win over Mike Malott, Dos Santos, but in between those fights, starched by Carlos Prates, and he was beaten by somebody else. Who was the other guy? I can't remember who the other guy was. It was Carlos Prates. Who the fuck was it? Was it Morales? Yeah, it was. It was Morales. So, I mean, those are two good fighters, and Jake Matthews has had losses, so I don't know. I'm just sticking with Jake Matthews. Justin Tafa versus Louis Sutherland. Are you guys excited to see Justin Tafa in the main card? Fuck, man. I did pick Louis Sutherland because I picked Junior Tafa, the other brother, to beat Tuco Tacos, and he couldn't even do that. Justin Tafa got his nose caved in by that big Brazilian guy, Talison Teixeira, which, I mean, Talison Teixeira is big and dangerous, so who knows. Louis Sutherland. This is his first fight in the UFC. From Scotland. We got another Scot. I don't know much about Louis Sutherland, but I know he's not a fat pig like Justin Tafa. And so I'm picking Louis Sutherland. 10-3, that's a better record than 7-5. How are you 7-5 and fighting on a main card in the UFC, man? How is that possible? Tom Nolan versus Charlie Campbell. Now this fight, I did pick Charlie Campbell because some of these non-Aussie underdogs are going to win in this card. This isn't going to be UFC Noche where all the Mexicans win. The Aussies aren't like that. Okay, they're not like that. The reason why I'm picking Charlie Campbell is because if this is to be believed, he's 6'3" at lightweight. These 6'3" lightweights, they're not it. Jalen Turner, Ignacio Bahamondes, Yoel Alvarez, you know, they have success, but they trade that muscle mass for the height. These guys, like Tom Nolan, should be fighting at welterweight. If Sean Brady is fighting at welterweight, Tom Nolan should be fighting at welterweight. Charlie Campbell, he's 6 foot. Even 6 foot is tall for a lightweight, okay? Let's be honest. But he's going to have more muscle mass. He's going to be stronger. So I am going to be picking Charlie Campbell to get some easy takedowns. Look at the takedown average against this tall, lanky frame. He's a minus 150 favorite. I don't care. I'm going with the underdog on this one. I do pick underdogs. And look, I picked Rinat Fakhretdinov against Gustafsson in the last card, and nobody was picking Rinat Fakhretdinov. So hear me out on this, okay? I have a feeling that Charlie Campbell's going to win this fight, and I am picking him. So next one, Navajo Sterling versus Rodolfo Bellato. I'm going to stick with Navajo Sterling on this one. Very underwhelming, lackluster performances against Tuco Tacos, against Ivan Erslan. That being said, he's still undefeated. He's solid fundamentals so far. Rodolfo Bellato is a pussy. You cop out of the fight against Paul Craig because of an illegal upkick where it didn't land that flush. That is a pussy move. You go to draw against Jimmy Crute. You lose in the Contender Series to Vitor Petrino. You are a dog shit fighter. And you look like a thumb. Look at Rodolfo Bellato. Let's look at his picture. Where is it? Look at him. That is the face of a thumb. He looks like that thumb thing from those Spy Kid movies. He is an ugly man. And I know Navajo Sterling looks a little weird himself. He's got a weird phrenology, weird bone structure. But I'm sticking with Navajo Sterling to win by decision. Or, like, maybe this could be a breakout performance, because I do think Navajo Sterling does have power in his hands. And eventually he will have to get a knockout. So let's just go Navajo Sterling by knockout. Rodolfo Bellato is a pussy. He should have been cut after that Paul Craig fiasco. Fuck Rodolfo Bellato. I hate him. We're going with Sterling. Next fight, Cam Rouston versus Andre Petroski. Cam Rouston, who doesn't even have a picture because he just fought in the Contender Series like a few weeks ago. And he fought in the Contender Series before that. And you know who he lost to in the Contender Series? Torres fucking Finney. He lost to Torres Finney in the Contender Series. I am picking Andre Petroski. This is an easy pick. He shouldn't be a minus 180 favorite. He should be like a minus 500 favorite. The only reason that he's a favorite is because Cam Rouston is Australia. And the Australian bookies are piling onto this. That's what's happening. That's why Carlos Ulberg is a minus 250 favorite. In reality, that fight should be a pick'em fight. Reyes versus Ulberg, that should be a pick'em fight. This fight, Andre Petroski should be like minus 400, minus 500. He is a seasoned veteran in the UFC. This is Cam Rouston's first UFC fight. I'm not picking Cam Rouston. I'm not. Andre Petroski, he's not the best fighter, but he's scrappy. He's decent. He's tough. That's why I'm picking Petroski. Next one. Ooh, this fight is the hardest fight to pick in the card, in my opinion. Jonathan McAuliffe versus Obon Elliott. Obon Elliott, he was on a tear for a while, but he got destroyed by that Korean guy out of nowhere. That Korean guy just came out of nowhere and just dominated him. I was going to pick Obon Elliott, and I might switch my pick at the last second, but right now, as of this video, I am picking Jonathan McAuliffe. I'm picking Jonathan McAuliffe. He's got more reach. And he does, like, I don't know, man. Like, this just feels, you know? Obon Elliott, he looked so dog shit in his last fight. And I don't like using past performances, like the last fight, just to dictate what his next fight will be. Maybe he's going to look good. But that was such a dog shit performance. He got dominated, man. He really got dominated. I can't pick him. I'm just going to pick this Jonathan McAuliffe guy for now. I might switch up if, like, Jonathan McAuliffe shows up with some horrible, like, body language in the face-offs. Maybe he's got a leg brace. I've learned my lesson now with the Jared Gordon fight. Don't pick the guy that's walking out with the leg brace. I should have switched my pick in the last second for that one. So, unless something like that happens, I might stick with McAuliffe. Malarkey versus Rolando Bedoya. Jamie Malarkey versus Rolando Bedoya. I pick Malarkey because Peruvians this year have not won a single fight. Kevin Borjas lost to the Chinese dude. The last week, or 2 weeks ago, that one Peruvian guy, he lost. And I picked against him. I'm not picking Rolando Bedoya. Peruvians just suck at MMA. They do. How many times do I have to say this? Do not pick Peruvians in mixed martial arts. Malarkey, he's not a good fighter himself, but he's been in wars. I'm just going to pick Malarkey. He's a veteran at this point. Been in a lot of wars, been brutalized many times. Joe Biden's favorite fighter, Malarkey. Jamie Malarkey. Who has Rolando Bedoya beaten? Nobody. Colby Thickenese versus Josias Musasa from the Democratic Republic of the Congo. I'm going to pick Josias Musasa because he likes to eat his fufu and his jollof rice and his yams. I'm picking Josias Musasa. BBC power. Melanin points coming in handy. Colby Thickenese 7-1 versus 8-1. I'm picking BBC power, man. The black supremacy. Who the fuck is Colby Thickenese? I remember that name, Thickenese. He's lost... let me look at his record, since we're here. Who has he lost to? He lost to some shitter. Oh, it was Topuria. That's who it was. Topuria is not a shitter. I was thinking of somebody else. Maybe I should... No. I still believe in BBC power. I think the DRC has, like, the world record for, like, the country with, like, the largest penis sizes. So, you know. BBC power for Josias Musasa. These Africans... They're just dangerous, man. They're just going to punch you and knock you out cold. Like what we're seeing with the Teba Gautier, like what we saw with Francis Ngannou. I know the DRC is not Cameroon, but like, look, they're so close to each other. It's the same people. Let's be honest. Tomato. You know, Koreans versus Chinese. They're the same race. Let's be honest with ourselves. And then these last fights, Michelle Montague versus Luana Carolina. I stick with Montague, minus 250 favorite. For these women's fights, I just stick with the favorite. It's not really gone wrong for me so far. So, yeah. Brando Pericic versus Elisha Ellison. Let's see Tapology, where we can see the pictures. I'm picking Elisha Ellison just because he's black. Like, look. Like, I'm saying this. Black fighters. If they're two mediocre fighters who I don't know to pick, I'm picking the black fighter based on melanin points. Just because of the slightly better genetics versus other races. Don't come after me. I know people are going to be upset about that. Black guys are going to love me for saying that because they know that it's true. Deep down inside, I also believe that. I never made a video based on Canelo versus Crawford, but in my mind, I did pick Crawford to beat Canelo. And that's what happened. I wish I made that video. I'm going to probably make more boxing videos when there's big super fights like that because I would have made that Terence Crawford video and it would have aged like fine wine. I wish I made that goddamn video, but I didn't. Elisha Ellison is going to starch out Brando Pericic. This is a heavyweight fight. UFC debut for both these guys, I'm pretty sure. Heard it here first, folks. So, Elisha Ellison. Last fight, Luma Lukbunmi from Thailand versus Alexia Tainara. I picked Tainara because she's what? Minus 250. Tainara. The melanin points doesn't seem to work on the woman, but I'm still picking her. Brazilian. This woman, Thai. We don't get many Thai women's fighters. So, she probably has a background in Muay Thai. Don't care. Picking Tainara. These are our picks. 100% right edition. This is a stinky card. This card is dog shit. But I am curious for Reyes. I do want to see the Jenkins fight. No, I don't. Wait, what am I talking about? No, I don't. I don't want to see the Jenkins fight. I want to see the Matthews fight. I want to see Jake Matthews versus the Haitian guy. Haitian sensation, Neil Magny. Heavyweight fights are always fun if there's some knockouts. So Sutherland versus Top. Like, I don't think Tafa is a boring fighter. He either gets some knockouts or gets knocked out himself. He did have that good knockout against Austin Lane. So, I think there's going to be a knockout for that one. And the heavyweight fight in the bottom, Brando Pericic versus Elisha Ellison. Musasa, I think he's going to bring out some knockouts. Jamie Malarkey, that'll be interesting just because I want my point about Peruvians to continue to be proven right, that Peruvians suck at mixed martial arts, because they do. They are the weakest link in the Incan Empire. Ecuadorians are superior to Peruvians. And then what else? Yeah, Sterling, Navo Sterling, we'll see if he can continue on his win streak. Maybe it'll be a 3-win streak. They're going to have to give him a ranked fighter at that point. Maybe, I don't know, somebody in the top 15. We'll see. But yeah, I've rambled on too much. My throat's starting to hurt. That's all I got for you in this video. Peace out. Subscribe to my channel, motherfuckers. Keep subscribing. I'll take all the subscribers. That Johnny Walker video, man, that shit blew up. So, yeah, peace out.